Ben Hunt Davis from Will It Make the Boat Go Faster. We've spoken so far this year about crazy goals, about concrete goals, and the everyday layer to make sure you can do what you need to do, achieve what you want to achieve. But in order to make sure you're going in the right direction, you've got to be able to measure what you're doing. You've got to know how you're doing, and I think it's really, really important to work out what are the things you need to measure and how you're going to measure them. What are the key behaviours, the key actions that need to show up? How often do they need to show up in order to enable you to achieve your crazy goal? Now, some of the things you might want to measure in terms of pounds, some of you might want to measure in terms of the number of meetings or something. Some of the things you might want to measure on a scale of 1 to 10. If one of the things you need to measure is about how you're working together with other people as a team, then it's pretty hard to have definitive measures around it, but a scale of 1 to 10, it can be pretty useful. Now, giving yourself a 10 on the first day probably isn't the best thing, because you can always improve your performance at all of these things. So have a think through, what are the key measures you need to have in place, whether they be empirical or kind of gut feel, and then start to measure how you're doing. And keeping track of those measures can be really, really useful. If you want to leave a comment on our website, that would be absolutely fantastic. There's a box just below. Thank you.